My boyfriend's childhood best friend told him that she's jealous of our relationship and can't stand to see him happy with me while being his friend, so she told him to break up with me or get cut out of her life, and my boyfriend low-key ghosted me for 2 weeks to think it over. Posted by you/deceased caterpillar. Me, 27F, and my boyfriend, 27M, had been dating for 2 months. We have so much in common. He's super sweet and always goes the extra mile for me with grand romantic gestures. He even asked me out by buying me my favorite comic book and leaving a sticky note between the pages confessing his feelings. I've never gotten anything but amazing vibes from him this whole time, until now. However, my boyfriend has a childhood friend, 27F, I'll call Sid. My boyfriend was very upfront when we started dating that he and Sid had romantic feelings for each other in the past, but decided it would be best they only stayed friends since they didn't want to risk their friendship. I never actually met Sid before and have only heard about her from my boyfriend and vice versa. About 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend texted me, super distraught, telling me that Sid called him, saying that she was too jealous of my and my boyfriend's relationship, and that she couldn't stand being his friend while he was in a happy relationship with me. She basically gave my boyfriend an ultimatum of him having to break up with me, or she would cut him out of her life. I was baffled by this, thinking that this 27-year-old woman, who had mutually agreed with my boyfriend that they would never date, was so childish to give him a ridiculous ultimatum, and I voiced that to him. He got mad at me, saying, "It's not that simple," and seemed to be seriously considering breaking up with me just to stay friends with Sid. I was in disbelief that he couldn't see how manipulative and abusive this was, and that the obvious conclusion would be to cut her off, since she was clearly toxic and controlling. But he was still on the fence, and we ended up taking a break and not talking while he thought it over. The next week and a half, he barely talked to me, telling me he's in a very hard place, while I became increasingly frustrated that this would even be a hard choice. Like, we're in a happy relationship, and he's debating breaking up because his crazy friend can't handle her jealousy? I was fuming. He then finally came to me after that time of not talking, saying he decided to choose me and leave his friendship with Sid behind. But by that time, I was so mad that it was even a choice that took 2 whole weeks to decide to begin with, but I ended up breaking up with him anyway. Now his friends are telling me I'm a jerk for not breaking up with him sooner, because now Sid is still cutting him out for picking me over her, and I'm still leaving him. Whereas if I had broken up with him during the weeks he was thinking it over, he would have at least been able to stay friends with Sid. But honestly, I didn't even realize how mad I was until he picked me and made it seem like he was some kind of martyr for doing so. Am I the jerk? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Not the jerk. She's obviously in love with him, to be this jealous. Eventually, she would have wormed her way back into his life, and you would be second best. Commenter 2. I don't think so. I suspect he's her backup plan. She wants him carrying a torch for her, but doesn't want an actual relationship. Hence why she incentivizes him to break up, but I guarantee there isn't a relationship waiting for him from her. Obviously, Alfie's not the jerk. I wouldn't want to get involved in that cluster F before the ultimatum even came out. Op adds an edit to her post. Apparently, Sid has completely cut my ex-boyfriend off and blocked him on everything. He is begging me to take him back, even contacting my friends to attempt to convince me. Luckily, all my friends are telling him to F off. He wrote me some 2,000-word essay on how I'm the best thing that ever happened to him and that he was blinded by his happy childhood memories of Sid. I also found out they slept together in the past before we started dating, so that's cool. But it was just a one-night stand to see what could have been. Either way, he was definitely hiding more about his relationship with Sid than I was told. I don't really care anymore. I'm not taking him back. He's a grown man who should have known better than to ghost me for 2 weeks to think it over, as if things would be the same after he decided to pick me. Doubt anything else interesting will happen, but I might update if it does. I'm honestly just hoping this will be a reality check for him, and he'll get the message. At least his friends have stopped bothering me. Update 10 months later. I, 28F, broke up with my ex, 28M, 10 months ago, but he will not get over it. Despite me wishing to no longer interact with my ex, as well as dating someone new, Cole, 29M, my ex has been trying to win me back by doing over-the-top things like sending me gift baskets, love letters, chocolates, etc., even though I've blocked his number and all social media, and always ignore his attempts to woo me with his gifts. He never actually interacts with me directly. He never waits for me outside or tries to talk to me. He just leaves me gifts at our doorstep and runs away. It's creepy and makes me super uncomfortable. Cole, who I live with, doesn't actually see an issue with this and says he feels bad for my ex and doesn't want me to waste my ex's money/efforts, so I reluctantly just let Cole eat the chocolates and other crap since he insists I don't throw them out. He even likes reading the love letters, even though I tell him I don't want to. I don't understand why he's so chill about this because my ex and Cole aren't even friends and have never interacted. It makes no sense why he's so okay with my ex doing these dumb gestures that he knows make me uncomfortable and creeped out. If anything, Cole should be pissed off that someone is trying to steal his girlfriend, right? Anyway, all of this finally came to a head on my birthday. After work, I came home to our apartment decorated in balloons, chocolates, and flowers. I'm immediately touched, thinking all of this was a surprise from Cole. Nope. Apparently, my ex actually came over with all this crap. Buzzer apartment doorbell. Cole let him in and allowed my ex to decorate our apartment and leave gifts for me. Then my ex left before I could get home. Cole apparently saw no issue with this. He literally let my ex into our apartment like it was no big deal because my ex came all the way with all these gifts, which was such a thoughtful gesture. Now I feel totally unsafe. What if my ex secretly left a hidden camera or something? I have no idea why Cole is so fine with all of this. I've talked to him over and over, and he won't understand why I would want to reject free stuff from someone who cares about me. I love Cole, but the fact that he actually let my ex into our apartment was a huge breach of my trust. I have no clue how to deal with this. Is this relationship just unsalvageable, or is there a way I can get it through Cole's head that none of this is okay? Could Cole have ulterior motives by letting my ex do all of these things? Any advice is welcome. I just have no clue how to handle this absurd situation. Thanks. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Something is very wrong with Cole. What the F does he mean? He feels bad for your ex who's stalking you. If he really doesn't know him, the only thing I can think of is he's got some kind of weird male solidarity view of the situation. Does he follow any podcasters that make you raise a brow on social media? Do you mind if I ask why you're already living with Cole? Ops response. Cost of living, mostly. I live in a very expensive city, so I was living month to month on my own. He basically offered to be my roommate so that we could go half and half on the rent, internet, and utilities, and it would relieve my financial stress, which it has a lot. It might have been stupid to jump the gun on us moving in so quickly, but he had only shown green flags until now. I can technically kick him out and try to look for a different roommate if things are totally done, since most of the stuff in our apartment is mine. Commenter 2. How do you know Cole and your ex don't know each other? They seem like buddies to me. How do you know Cole? How long have you been together? Ops downloaded response. I've been with Cole for almost 8 months at this point. I have no idea how the two of them could have met, since they don't share any friends, went to different schools, work totally different jobs, and have completely different interests. Unless they secretly became friends while my ex has been stalking me, and he's hidden that from me, which would just be absolutely ridiculous. Because who would want to be friends with a guy who is stalking or trying to steal your girlfriend? But at this point, I have no idea anymore. Commenter 3. So, you left a relationship with a creepy stalker and almost immediately entered another relationship and quickly moved in together? Girl, take some time alone. Currently, your good boyfriend detector is seriously malfunctioning. Commenter 4. Hey, so people sometimes have a hard time seeing red flag patterns. He may seem like a great guy, but these small little things he's doing, like pushing the relationship fast or sympathizing with your stalker ex, are probably red flags that you should pay attention to. You might just have an off-picker when it comes to partners. Ops response. I grew up with an abusive mom and an absent father, so my relationship understandings are probably screwed up. Maybe I should go back to therapy for a while after this, before putting myself out there again. Op adds an edit to her post. Thank you for all the insight, everyone. I really appreciate it. I don't have the money to do everything that was recommended, but I am going to do some investigating into Cole and my ex possibly being in cahoots with each other, and confront Cole this weekend, likely to end this cluster F of a relationship. If there's any interest, I'll update if anything significant happens. Thank you again. Second update 3 days later. Hello all, my last post blew up a bit, and many people were concerned about me, so I'm going to give you this update. I can't even put into words how insane this situation has gotten. When I got back home on Friday, I tried to come up with a good plan to keep myself safe while I confronted Cole in case he were to do something scary. A lot of people put the fear of God into me in the comments of my last post. I invited my very tall and intimidating younger brother over to be there while I talked to Cole. My brother couldn't come over until Sunday, so I spent a day and a half awkwardly trying to pretend everything was fine, but I must have done a crap job because Cole kept asking me what was wrong and love-bombing me. Eventually, Sunday came around, my brother showed up, and we grilled Cole about why the hell he's been so fine with my ex coming around with gifts and even letting him in to decorate our apartment for my birthday. I was not ready. All of you had a lot of theories. One of which came up a lot was that the two knew each other and or were working together to do this. If anything, I would have rather that been the case because the truth is so much more effed up. Basically, Cole has been fixated on my ex. He has essentially been stalking my stalker. Cole admitted that he made fake social media accounts, yes, multiple, to follow my ex and has been stalking his Instagram and Facebook. Apparently, my ex has been making a lot of vent posts about me and how hurt he is that I'm not returning his feelings and have moved on so fast, and Cole has been egging him on in his alt accounts to get my ex to keep trying. The reason my ex is still stalking me is because Cole has been literally telling him to on his effing alt accounts. It's obvious my ex is unstable if he's listening to random strangers telling him to keep trying, and Cole is taking advantage of his instability by planting thoughts into his head. If I am to believe Cole's words, my ex has no idea that it's Cole who's been encouraging him to keep pursuing me, but I can't be certain about anything this guy says at this point. So why, you ask, was Cole doing all of this? That is exactly what my brother and I asked. This was his answer, to give my ex false hope. Basically, to bully him. Anytime my ex angst posted on his social media about me, Cole got some sick satisfaction out of watching his misery. He wanted to string my ex along to keep trying to win my heart, just to watch him fail over and over. Cole finds it hilarious that my ex is wasting so much money on gifts for me, and that it's him who eats the chocolates and reads the desperate love letters my ex sends to me while I act like my ex's gifts are radioactive and avoid them. This has all been some sick game to see how long he can get my ex to keep pining for me. Who the hell even does this? I've been living in fear for months because Cole thinks it's funny to manipulate my ex and watch him be heartbroken. I cannot articulate how sick all of this is. How is this funny? What is wrong with him? He said he made sure not to go too far by discouraging my ex to make direct contact with me, but I can't believe anything anymore. I've read so many stories of people who were dating someone who seemed so sweet initially, but turned out to be actually unhinged. I naively never thought that could be me. I was so careless and dumb because I cloned to someone who finally treated me with kindness, but he is a twisted man who turned my ex into a monster by feeding his delusions. I think if he hadn't done all this, my ex probably wouldn't still be stalking me in the first place. My constant fear and discomfort have just been an unfortunate byproduct of his little game of puppetry. I can't even comprehend how someone could do something like this. I'm so shaken up, I feel like I'm spiraling. Suffice to say, I'm living with my brother and his girlfriend while my ex gets the hell out. I told him he needs to move out within the week, or I'm getting the cops involved. He didn't make a fuss or anything, surprisingly. He just looked at the floor like a kicked puppy. He hasn't even tried to call or text me, but I blocked him just in case. I'm going to see if my landlord can understand my situation and let me break the lease early with no extra cost. If I can't, my brother is going to cover the extra cost in the meantime, and I'll stay with him and his girlfriend until I can find somewhere else. My brother is seriously a godsend. I'm definitely going to go back to therapy as soon as possible because this whole situation has me unable to sleep at night, trust anyone, and I really need a better understanding of what red flags are in relationships. So many of you told me I was a pushover, and you're all right. It shouldn't have taken this long for me to call this relationship with Cole off. This is so effed up, but I'm safe for now. I don't know what I'd do without my brother and his girlfriend. Thanks to everyone who told me to get out of this relationship, because Cole was way more twisted than I ever could have thought. I don't even know if he told the whole truth. I don't even care anymore. I'm out. Gone. Never looking back. /relevant comments. Commenter. To be clear, Cole wasn't just getting sick satisfaction out of your ex's misery. He was getting satisfaction from your misery. The ex was the unfortunate byproduct. You were the main focus. He clearly enjoyed watching your fear and stress. Commenter 2. Your brother, or someone, needs to tell your stalker. I have no sympathy for a stalker, but if this went down as described, he's basically been a victim of cyberbullying and there is no way of knowing what might happen next. He needs a dose of reality for your safety. Ops response. I was so caught up in escaping that I never considered this. You're right. Thank you for reminding me, my head is such a mess right now. I'll need to brainstorm the best way to let my ex know. I hate to think how he'll react to that, though. Commenter 3. Maybe ask your brother to do it with an online message. It definitely should not come from you, and this needs to head off any communication from your ex and his fake accounts. I'm glad you got to the bottom of this. I remember your prior post and mentioning that there were no red flags before your ex was led into the apartment after mentioning that he was just eating the chocolate and being really chill and happy about everything else. Those were major red flags. His general comfort with your distress is incredibly problematic. Ops response. Oh, I'm definitely not going to contact my stalker ex myself. I'll probably get my brother to do it, since he at least met my ex a few times while I was dating. My dumb self didn't think to record Cole's confession, so we don't have hard proof of his cyber harassment toward my ex. Just gotta hope he believes us and stops interacting with Cole's alt accounts. I don't know the name of Cole's alts, just that he has them, which is also complicated. Commenter 4. Yeah, seriously, you need to get back into therapy. They are preying on you because they're picking up on something you're doing that suggests you're vulnerable to their crazy. I'm not meaning this in a judgy way or saying you're bad in some way, but you have 2 psycho exes, and the common denominator is you. Again, that sounds jerkish on my part, but what I'm trying to say is there's something you're not seeing here, something you didn't spot in them, something you're putting out that's attracting these people, or at least choosing them instead of saying people once they show up. Maybe you're displaying poor boundaries, letting people get too close too fast, or oversharing in a way that makes a predator's antennae pop up, is all. Definitely stay single a bit and really grind down to figure out what's happening. I really hope you figure it out and can find a nice, normal guy. Ops response. No, you're completely right. Sometimes a girl needs a hard dose of reality from some wise Redditors to get her crap together. I'm glad I posted here, holy crap. Op adds an edit to her post. Thank you, everyone, for your advice and words of encouragement. I called the non-emergency police line to file a report of all this. It wasn't super helpful, other than just making a record, so I'll do a follow-up with them once I have safe access to my apartment and can collect evidence. I unblocked Cole for now to gather any text evidence, as some of you suggested, but he's been pretty quiet. He sent a photo of a couple of garbage bags full of his stuff, and he asked if he could have a day to say goodbye to my cat. I have her with me currently at my brother's place. No way am I letting her near him. I haven't replied yet. I turned read receipts off. Haven't contacted X1 yet. Still figuring out the best way to do that. Tomorrow is a stat holiday where I live, so my brother and his girlfriend will be home from work. We are working together to figure all this out. Definitely moving out of my current place as soon as I can. Sorry I can't reply to all the comments. I'm still pretty overwhelmed and anxious, and there are so many that it's frying my brain, but I'm trying to read most of them. I appreciate every one of you, though,